Greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, and sincere greetings from. I'm starting to look for Noah here in Dallas, Texas. I mean, we have had torrential rains happening for about the last 4 or 5 days. As you can see, I'm kind of dressed up a little bit. I just got off a flight coming back from San Diego. I had a nice 2 days out in California between Sacramento and San Diego, and there are some conservatives out there. And it's amazing to me that, when they kind of recognize you, they see you talking, they do come up and talk to you. And it's very interesting. A lot of people are still planning on maybe departing California if Mr. Gavin Newsom becomes their next governor out there, because they just see what is going to happen. Higher taxes, more increased regulation. And that is why I wrote this incredible book, Hold Texas, Hold the Nation. And I want to thank you all so very much for making it a top seller. #1 on Amazon, and I think it was also #1 on Kindle. Please go out and order it and get your copy of Hold Texas, Hold the Nation by yours truly, because it talks about exactly what we see happening here in Texas. The fact that we have businesses and corporations that are leaving places like California, these failed blue states with their onerous policies, and they're coming here to Texas, or they're leaving Illinois. People are leaving New York and New Jersey, and they're coming here to Texas, and they're coming to other successful, financially stable red states. And what they're doing is they're bringing their failed policies along with them. And no better place to have seen that happen than with the Senate debate that was last night between Representative O'Rourke from El Paso and Senator Ted Cruz. Representative O'Rourke is running to be the next senator from the state of Texas. But, many people would say, how could it be possible that a person that is such a strong progressive socialist, that believes in open borders, that is against our immigrations and customs enforcement, against our law enforcement agencies, that wants to see higher taxes and wants to see more increased regulation, that even wants to have taxation on, barrels of oil that we are pulling out of the West Texas Permian Basin and oil and natural gas production. That is what is sustaining us right now. That's what's sustaining our economy. The fact that now we're able to produce, consume, and export our oil and natural gas assets and resources, but yet you have a person like a Representative O'Rourke that wants to tax those resources right here. So how did it come to be that people are leaving these failed states and they're coming here for the success, the economic vibrancy that you see in a place like a Texas, or a place like a North Carolina or Georgia or even a Florida? Look at who is running for governor in the state of Georgia, Stacey Abrams. Look at who is running for governor in the state of Florida, Mr. Andrew Gillum, mayor of Tallahassee. And look at the policies, look at the things that they're talking about. Stacey Abrams in Georgia is even talking about allowing illegals to vote. Of course, they use that, dog whistle world, undocumented individuals, but we know exactly what they're talking about. So please go out and get your copy of Hold Texas, Hold the Nation, Victory or Death. Those words are taken, of course, from the letter that William Barrett Travis, the colonel who was the commander of the Alamo for those 13 days back in February and March of 1836, in the letter that he wrote. And he underlined at the end 3 times, victory or death. We know what they chose, but they chose the honorable way so that we could be here in this great state of Texas and in this incredible country that we call the United States of America. And speaking of this incredible country that we call the United States of America, I want to thank all of you who continue to support theoldschoolpatriot.com. That's where you find anything and everything about me, the Old School Patriot, Colonel Alan West, and also our special operations team, our website administrator, and all our website tech support folks that enable us to be able to bring you all the information that we can to try to keep you informed, engaged, and able to go out and do the intellectual debate and discourse with the progressive socialist left. Now, of course, they really don't want to debate you or have any discourse. And we shared a story from Texas Women's University with you on the website, The Old School Patriot, today, where at Texas Women's University, just north of me here in Denton, Texas, they have 5 designated free speech zones. Yeah, you heard me right. At Texas Women's University, you have designated free speech zones. It's a public university. That means taxpayer funds are going toward that university. But yet, if you're outside of the 5, okay, see my hand? 5 designated free speech zones, you don't have your First Amendment right to free speech and freedom of expression. That's what's happening right here in Texas. Now, maybe we would think, okay, Cal, Berkeley, or West Wellesley College or something like that. But no, it's happening here in Texas at a publicly funded university. Think about victory or death. The words that Colonel William Barrett Travis wrote about in that letter to Sam Houston back on February the 24th of 1836. See, just last month, it was found out that there were some people that wanted to remove the reference of heroic in history books taught to our young people here in the great state of Texas in regards to those people, those men, those 183, 185 for 13 days that held on and sacrificed their lives at the Alamo. This is what is happening in Texas. And this is why this book is so important. The fact that we have designated free speech zones on a public university here in Texas, the fact that we have to go and present a case before the Texas State Board of Education about why we should continue to refer to the defenders of the Alamo as heroic, the fact that we have people that want to change the name of the capital city of Texas from Austin. That's what's going on here. And that is why we must hold Texas, because if we lose Texas, we will lose this nation. And it's not that the progressive socialist left really wants Texas to try to continue this economic vibrancy, the continuation of the conservative policies, right to work state. No, they just want those 38 some odd electoral votes. And think about it, when the next census comes around with the increased population that we've seen here in the great state of Texas, chances are that Texas will increase in electoral votes. Now, all of a sudden, if you have California and Texas that, I have to clear my throat, go blue, what happens in the United States of America? That's why this is a linchpin. That's why we're standing on the ramparts of the modern day Alamo and a modern day fight. It's an ideological battle, and we have to win it. And of course, the other side will use threats, intimidation, coercion, mandates, and even violence. They will resort to that. As we heard Hillary Clinton say, civility is out the window. There will only be civility when they're in control, when they're in power. And if you don't know, that is not civility. It's called tyranny. So look at what is happening right now as we draw closer to the midterm elections. And I don't think this is something that is coincidental. But all of a sudden, we have 4,000 migrants that are making their way toward our southern border, probably making their way right to the border here in Texas. Do you really believe that this is something that just popped up out of nowhere? I guarantee you that this is one of those created incidents. This is one of those faux episodes that the left has gone down and fomented. Because remember, they have their lawyers that are going down in Mexico and Guatemala and Honduras. They're instructing people on how to circumvent the laws of this sovereign nation to gain access into the United States of America. And you heard me right. This is a sovereign nation. That means we have borders. We have borders to protect. This is not like what Antifa said. No borders, no walls, no USA at all. I don't believe in that. And as an old school patriot, you should not either. But if we allow people to just continue to come here into the United States of America and just kind of squat and say that they're here because, well, things are just too bad and too rough in my country. These are countries that we're sending foreign aid to. One or two things need to happen. Either we stop the foreign aid that go to these countries, because obviously the American taxpayer must now bear the brunt of the cost of people that have to come and go on social welfare programs, which is exactly what the progressive socialist left wants, because they believe that that will become a new electoral base for them. Or number two, we continue down this path of watching our country slowly but surely disintegrate. Now, I believe that when people try to enter our country illegally, they need to be stopped, they need to be briefed, they need to be told why they cannot do that, and we need to return them back to their home country. I don't have any problem expending taxpayer funds to load them on a military aircraft and take them back and land them in the countries that they came from. But if we are to now just be an open door for everyone that says, I don't like my country, then we will lose our own country. And I think that there's nothing wrong with having a front door that people can do the right type of application process and come to the United States of America. We do need to streamline and better improve our legal immigration process. And think about how disrespectful it is to the people that seek to come to the United States of America the correct way, that folks can just come right across the Rio Grande River, come right across the border, and declare that they're here as a refugee. They're seeking asylum without any real proof of political repression. I mean, the Obama administration certainly was not allowing Christians to come into the United States of America during the reign of ISIS, which he allowed to happen. So why is it that all of a sudden we have to have this level of compassion? And believe me, this is what this faux incident is all about. The progressive socialist left is having 4,000 people march toward our border, and they're going to sit back and say, see those mean, nasty conservatives, those mean, nasty Republicans. They're turning people away. They're not allowing them into the United States of America. They will go after ICE. They will go after our Border Patrol agents. They will do whatever it is to try to gain power and control the United States of America. And they have created this faux episode of 4,000 people marching toward our borders right now before the midterm elections. Just the same as the whole Brett Kavanaugh episode. And ask yourself, can I just take a moment? When was the last time you heard about Dr. Christine Blasey Ford or Deborah Ramirez or Julie Swetnick's name in the news? Isn't it amazing how we're supposed to believe women, but as soon as Justice Kavanaugh was confirmed, it just goes away magically? And why is it that we can't believe the woman that has evidence, that has proof, that has a corroborated witness? Her name is Karen Monahan. She was allegedly beaten by Representative Keith Ellison of Minnesota, number 2 at the Democrat National Committee, running for top law enforcement officer in the state of Minnesota. Why is it that she's not to be believed? But just think about it. As soon after that whole debacle and Justice Kavanaugh was confirmed on that Saturday, yeah, they were banging on the doors of the Supreme Court, climbing on the statues there. Do you really want that in America? But think about this. When was the last time you heard any of those 3 names? Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, Deborah Ramirez, and Julie Swetnick in the news media since he was confirmed. They just move along. And now they've created the new crisis of these 4,000 migrants that are marching toward our border, because they really believe, they in their heart of hearts, they believe that supporting illegal immigration, this is the left, supporting illegal immigration is a winning issue for them. And they're going to tug at your heartstrings. They're going to make it an emotional issue because they don't care about the sovereignty of America. They don't care that we live in a constitutional republic that is supposed to stand for the rule of law. The rule of law did not matter. Due process didn't matter in the case of Brett Kavanaugh, now Justice Kavanaugh. And the rule of law does not matter when it confronts the ideological agenda of the left, which is open borders. See, these are the type of things you need to think about. Nothing is coincidental in this election cycle when you're dealing with the progressive socialist left. And we need to have a greater strategic perspective and insight and start thinking about what's their next avenue of approach to try to take this country into another crisis. And so just the same as all of a sudden you had cameras everywhere in the elevators, seeing these, protesters confronting Republican senators, there are going to be cameras strategically placed in certain locations at our border, tracking these 4,000 people that are going to try to come into the United States of America. God bless them, but they have a country. And what they should do is try to stand up in their own country. If they have incompetent leadership, if they have people that are not doing right by them, they should stand up in their own country. And that's what our foreign aid is supposed to be going towards, assisting good governance in some of these nations. But instead, well, we know what happens. And so maybe we need to start looking at the return on investment for our foreign aid that is going out to so many different countries if they want to continue to try to undermine the sovereignty of the United States of America. Let me close by sharing some thoughts on this issue with the Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. This is appalling. This is something that should really concern us. This young man, the crown prince that everyone was hailing as the new great reformer, it appears that he's just the same. And they're still the same old Saudi Arabia with the human rights violations that believe that they can do whatever they want to do and act with impunity. And everyone is so concerned about, yeah, but we need Saudi Arabia, or else we may push them into the hands of Russia and China. The minute that you let a country know or make them believe that you need them, then they will act as Saudi Arabia does. Saudi Arabia, they're not our friends. On 9/11, how many of those conspirators, how many of those people that were responsible for the deaths of thousands of Americans, more than Pearl Harbor, were from Saudi Arabia? Osama bin Laden, Saudi Arabia. It is time that we stand up to Saudi Arabia and say very simply, we are not going to continue to acquiesce. We're not going to continue to subjugate ourselves to you. I have to tell you, think about this. We're infidels. We're not allowed to go to Mecca or Medina. But yet the Saudis can come here and do anything that they want in the United States of America. They can buy up any property. They can even assassinate a Washington Post journalist. They had a green card, not a citizen, but he had a green card allowing him to rightfully reside here in the United States of America. He did not do it illegally. He did it the right way. And if the reports are true about how they disposed of his body, this is heinous. This is something that we cannot condone, and there have to be ramifications and consequences. I know that I'm a strong believer in the free market, but I don't want to sell arms to people that assassinate journalists and butcher their bodies. There's something very rotten to the core with Saudi Arabia. It's about time that we stand up and say that we don't need you. And if you want to side with the Russias and the Chinas and the North Koreas of the world, then you will find yourself on the other side of liberty and of freedom and democracy. And you will be an enemy of this state. And we will use every means of our national power to defeat you. See, we cannot continue down this either or foreign policy strategy. Either we have these guys and we're friends with these guys, or we drive ourselves into the camp of these other guys. Just because we are not friendly with Iran does not mean that we have to be friendly with the Saudis. We need to stand with people that believe in our principles and values. And those who do not, they should not have the love and admiration, the foreign policy aid, the military weaponry and armament that we produce here in the United States of America. Jamal Khashoggi, this is a heinous thing. And we know that it comes from a country that, without a doubt, had a hand in our 21st century Pearl Harbor. With that being said, let's answer your questions. Okay, Deanna Witt. Hi, Mr. West from Moore, Oklahoma. Thanks so much. That's the home of a great country and western singer and star up there, Toby Keith. And I love to go up there and spend time with some friends I have in Oklahoma City. Let's see. Anthony Barnes, Truth Bombs by Mr. West. Thank you so much, Anthony. John Oyston, remarks complete. Yes, rouse complete. That's what we say in the artillery. Jay Tia, I believe, changed the game plan with Saudi, but we have too much to lose. I don't think we have too much to lose. And as soon, Jay, as you have people believe that we have too much to lose, they will continue to act with impunity like they do, because they believe that they can get away with it because they're so vital and essential. So I think this is a very important point for the foreign policy of President Trump and his administration. And I think we need to send a forceful message to the Saudis. And the fact that you see a lot of these business people that are canceling the trip for this Davos in the desert thing that's supposed to be happening, our private sector business people are starting to understand that they can't do business with people that do not believe in the very basics of human rights. And this was an assassination. And I think that this was well known by some of the top level members in the royal family, and we can't operate like this. Let's see. Phyllis Shabao. Thank you, Alan. God bless you. Do you live in the north part of Texas or in the south? I live in Dallas, Texas, over near the Lake Highlands area. Okay. There we go. Otis Shoemate. Stop the BS. Vote red in November. I agree, Otis. And it's a clear-cut choice and decision that we have to make. Collier John, well said, well said. Thank you very much, sir. I try to keep you guys informed and share good thoughts and perspectives with you. John Oyston, the Democrat Party has tunnel vision on winning. They do not see what is going on in our country. They need to be enlightened on the ways of our country. John, they do know what's going on in our country. They're fomenting this dissent. They are seeking to undermine our constitutional republic. When you have people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and other Democrats saying that we need to win back the House, the Senate, and the White House so that we can stack the Supreme Court. 9 justices, that's not good enough. Why? Because they have all of a sudden, they don't have the ability to control it. They don't have judicial activism. They're not going to be able to implement their ideological agenda by mandate through the Supreme Court. That's very disconcerting for them. And when was the last time you heard anyone talking about stacking the Supreme Court? Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He wanted to take it from 9 to 15. Thank God it didn't work out. Dick McD, never give up, never give in. Lieutenant Clint Lawrence. Hey, please, folks, please look up the plight of Lieutenant Clint Lawrence, Army First Lieutenant, who is still in Fort Leavenworth for doing what we asked him to do, stand up to the enemy, as opposed to Bo Bergdahl, who was walking free, who was a deserter in a combat zone. So send emails and whatever you can to President Trump to say, you know, we need to parole. We need to free Clint Lawrence out of Fort Leavenworth prison. Clint Lawrence should not be in the same prison with Nadal Hassan. Think about that. Bradley Manning is free. Bradley Manning even ran for Senate up in Maryland. The same Bradley Manning that divulged over 700,000 classified pieces of information from a combat zone. Bo Bergdahl is walking free. Army First Lieutenant Clint Lawrence, even though the Army withheld exculpatory evidence in his case, he's still sitting in prison. That, to me, is FUBAR. Richard Johnson from Indiana, thank you for your openness and service. We will ever arrest the crooks, and will we ever arrest the crooks in D.C.? You know, I think that based upon what happens in these midterm elections, if the Republicans can increase their majority in the Senate, you may see a different person as far as the Attorney General of the United States of America. But the most important thing up there in Indiana, we need a new senator. We need to get rid of that guy that you have right now that's running for re-election. And I think you know who I'm talking about. Hi from California, big sanctuary state. That's Jim Stonehouse. You know, I just got back I was in Sacramento and also San Diego. And I got to tell you that you talk to people and folks have no hope for California. And that's sad. I mean, I was at the airport in San Diego and met a couple of really, you know, nice conservative people. They were coming here to visit, you know, relatives and family here in Texas. And they were contemplating moving out of California if Gavin Newsom becomes their next governor. But the important thing is that in moving and leaving from California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, to everyone out there, don't bring those same failed ideologies here to Texas, a successful state. See, I really believe that many of the states that we have here in the United States of America, especially like in Texas, should have a billboard out there on the interstates or any major U.S. highway that comes to into the state and says, "Welcome to Texas. Why are you here?" And see, that's what this here book, Hold Texas, Hold the Nation. That's what it's all about. is this grand strategic plan that the left has to bring themselves into successful red states and turn them. You folks that live in Colorado, you know what I'm talking about. You folks that live in Nevada, you know what I'm talking about. Arizona, New Mexico. Look at what has happened in Virginia. The politics in Virginia are dictated by basically 2 counties in Northern Virginia. Look at what has happened in Georgia. Look at what has happened in Tennessee. Look at what has happened in North Carolina. Look at what is happening in Florida. The left moves into economically viable, vibrant, successful states that have good, strong, conservative fiscal principles, and then they destroy them. It's the locust effect. And what is even more insidious is how, excuse me, how angry they get when you reject their idiocy. That's why I call them mobocrats. And they want to institute a mobocracy. Let's sit down and have the debate. But they don't want to have the debate. They want to have rule. And remember what I said in a piece that I wrote for CNS News. The 3 branches of rule for the progressive socialist left is the media, academia, and the courts. The media, academia, and the courts. Not the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. They're not concerned with governing. They're concerned with ruling. And they're trying to do that by affecting our culture, affecting the narrative, affecting the message. Just like I said, think about the fact that at Texas Women's University, just north of me here in Denton, Texas, 5 designated free speech zones at a public university in Texas. Travis Dupre, New York isn't any better with Cuomo as governor, just as bad. And look, once again, when you go upstate in New York, completely different than what you see happening there in Manhattan. I mean, just remember, and you can go look at the statistics, only about 30,000 people participated in the election that gave us Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. 30,000. I think she won 17,000 to 13,000 over Joe Crowley. That's how socialism gets a foothold, with apathy and with a focused concentration on certain areas. And that's why I believe it's so important for constitutional conservatives to start going into the urban centers, start going into the inner cities, and start talking about the failures of the left's policies. We've got to rebuild the families. We've got to get back to education and not indoctrination. We've got to get people back to work so that they're not dependent upon government, because what is being harvested now are votes. That's the grand strategic plan that we have to have. Rafael Segarra, Bobby O'Rourke has raised too much money and won't beat Senator Cruz. No, I mean, and think about it. He raised $38 million in the last quarter. Just follow the money and see where that's coming from. That's not coming out of Texas, 38 million, no. Just the same as when the young man John Ossoff was running for a congressional special election in North Atlanta. Most of his money was coming out of, you guessed it, California, Hollywood, and also probably George Soros. Hey, anybody want to know something? I'd like to know this. That GoFundMe account for Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, a lot of money. Where it come from? All right. Holly Mitchell, don't believe the polls, even if in your favor, get up, get out, and vote. Holly, that's a great point to bring out. You continue to hear, these polls saying that, hey, it's tight. The Democrats are going to win back the House, and here in Texas, O'Rourke is a tight race and everything for the Senate. Don't believe the hype. I think that was a song. Wasn't that a song? Don't believe the hype. Don't believe it. Get out and vote. Just think about this. Never forget the images that you saw a couple of weekends ago in Washington, D.C. of people banging on the doors of the Supreme Court of the United States of America, climbing on the statues. If someone had told me that that would happen in these great United States of America when I took the oath to the Constitution on 31 July 1982 that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and bear true faith and allegiance to the same, I would say it's not possible. If someone had told me that one day wealth redistribution, nationalizing economic production, creating and expanding a welfare nanny state, social egalitarianism, secular humanism, those type of things are all, fundamentals of progressive socialism, that would be happening in the United States of America, and people would be running, saying that they're proud socialists, I would say that would happen. But it only happens if we're complacent and if we're apathetic and we allow it to happen. My challenge to so many of you out there, the most important election, the most important elected position in the United States of America is right there in your local areas, the school board. And if we don't turn around this system of indoctrination and get back to a system of education, then we're going to continue to raise the next generation of snowflake socialists. Go out there and run for city council. Go out there and run for school board. Go out there and make a difference in your local communities. But go out and make a difference, period. The most important thing is the vote. Plato once said, one of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you shall be governed by your inferiors. That's what Plato said. It's very appropriate. A couple of last questions. Bobby Thomas, does Ford have to pay IRS on GoFundMe? Nope, I don't think so. Now, I may be wrong. Go look into it. But I don't know, how she claims that money or whatever. Does she set herself up as a, 501c3 charitable, donations, what have you? But it'd be very interesting to see what happens. But also remember this, what's so interesting about that Brett Kavanaugh episode, are there any ramifications or consequences for bringing false accusations and allegations under oath? Because if they're not, the left's going to use the same tactic over and over and over again. Patricia Dunn Heidel, I'm here, and this is the first time in a very long time I've seen you on Facebook. Patricia Dunn Heidel, you can follow me at theoldschoolpatriot.com. That's my official website. I know that a lot of people were upset because they thought Allen West Republic was me. It actually was not, and Facebook has taken it down, but you find everything about me right here at theoldschoolpatriot.com. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all the social media platforms. And please be a part of our discussion group and our special operations team. But as I get ready to close out, hold Texas, hold the nation, victory or death. It was released this Tuesday. You all, your incredible support, you just so humble me, because only in the United States of America can a kid born and raised in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, have the #1 book on Amazon in this category, #1 book on Kindle in this category. But you know what I really want to do? I would really like to see it as a New York Times bestseller. Not for me, but for us as constitutional conservatives, for us as old school patriots, to send a message to the people up there in New York and the editorial board of the New York Times and those elites in our culture, that we see what is happening in our country. And we're going to hold on to our principles and values. We're going to hold on here in Texas. We're going to hold on all across the United States of America, because we want to pass on a better America to our children and grandchildren, in opposition to what the progressive socialists want to pass on. I guess it's okay for these 4,000 people to just come in, but I'd rather them knock on the front door and say, we're here to be a part of the greatness and exceptionalism of the United States of America, not try to sneak in through our back door. Last question. Todd Stakowiak, when General Mattis leaves, are you the next general? Well, no, I retired as a lieutenant colonel, so they can't make me a general. Johnny Bell, there is no punishment for false accusations. They don't hold them accountable, and they should. You're absolutely right. Let's see. Joe Tenorio, come to California, Colonel West. I was just out there. Like I said, I just got back. I was in Sacramento, San Diego. And check out my website tomorrow, theoldschoolpatriot.com. I got a great story about an experience that I had out there in Carlsbad, California, just earlier today. And I think you're going to really like it. Okay, it's 7:35. You guys, thank you so much for allowing me to come into your homes. Thank you so much for your support. Once again, Hold Texas, Hold the Nation, Victory or Death came out this Tuesday. You can order it out there on Amazon, and you'll be able to follow and see where I'm going to be having book signings here in the state of Texas and maybe outside of the state of Texas. I would love to be able to put my little John Hancock into one of your books and just say thank you. But again, something like this only happens in this great country. And I'm so thankful for America and all it's done for me and my family. And I will continue to fight for all that it stands for and all that I took an oath to support and defend. So God bless you all. Have a great night. Steadfast and loyal. And oh, by the way, hey, Coach Jeremy Pruitt up there, Rocky Top, University of Tennessee, great win against Auburn University. I know we've got to face Alabama this Saturday, third Saturday in October. Go out there and fight hard. Make Rocky Top proud. And I'll be up there in Knoxville, Tennessee on Veterans Day weekend for the Kentucky game. And it is also the second Hall of Fame induction for the University of Tennessee Army ROTC. I was in the first class of inductees, and I'm honored to be up there for the second class of inductees. So I'll see you up there at Rocky Top next month in November. Go Big Orange, go Vols, but most importantly, go America. God bless you all. Have a great night. Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff Rozier is not the Old School Republic. It's the oldschoolpatriot.com. Okay, Allen West Republic was blocked by Facebook. My website where you can find me, theoldschoolpatriot.com. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.